James Haven. I know we've been off of here for quite a while. Not that we're not doing anything, but we have had computer issues, phone issues, camera issues, editing issues. So here we're going to do just a little tour of our gardens, what's left of them. They're kind of going into fall mode, so they're kind of to the end. Here at James Haven we have gardens kind of just all spread out. We don't have just one big garden. So we'll take you around, show you what's left in the gardens, and then we'll give you a little update of what else has been going around. So come along with us. This is one of our first patches. This is mainly squash and melons. This squash plant took over completely, but it's doing amazing. These squash are huge. Really see how huge this thing is. There's no good way to... You can see like that starts way over here, loops around, and comes all the way back there. Here's another one. Same thing. Comes all the way around here, all over here, and ends there. It's crazy. Now, these are all a winter squash or a zucchini. You can do both. I'll put in the description what kind they are, because honestly I don't remember. We've eaten a lot of them fresh already. That's summer squash. Here's our little watermelon patch. Cantaloupes. Cantaloupe are doing really good this year. I've already eaten a couple of them. Little pumpkin poking through here. These are our grapevines. This year, the blight. We planted most of them last year. Didn't do very well, and this year they're doing better, but the blight is not good on them this year. Kind of how everything is here this year, blight on everything. That plant right in the corner is actually supposed to be a bean plant. They grow really long beans, but something is eating the ends. Once the bean starts growing, something keeps eating them. This is our blueberry patch. Our blueberry season is about done. We've got a few blueberries on some of the bushes, but for the most part they're pretty empty. This one's got some. I don't know how many pounds. We were weighing them at the beginning. We kind of stopped toward the end, but I'd say we had well over 100 pounds of blueberries, but I mean they're still really good. Most of our blueberries we just froze this year. Next year we might try canning them or something. One of the projects we did earlier this year actually was replace some of the bushes that weren't doing very well. So this little guy is a new one. I don't see it even. I think we replaced about 20-25 bushes. They actually had some, I don't know if it was like a mutation or something that with that type of blueberry, during a certain year or something, there was a problem, and so it wasn't an option just to cut down and let them grow again. They actually had to be replaced. So this whole row we had to replace. Several in that row, and then just a couple throughout. This is actually one more bush that is still producing very well. There's a couple. We have plants that are all different varieties, so We get some that'll start the early season and then we end off, so we have a longer harvest. It's really nice, so it makes your harvest go a lot longer. I don't know if you noticed, we have these streamers all throughout. We've been trying to do with birds, since we do things organic especially, but birds are always just a pest. So we got little whirly things out here and streamers tied to all the bushes. Just trying to, we've had the radio out here before to just try to scare the birds, but sometimes you just can't keep them away. And right now they're loving them. This area we've really been trying to work on this year. When we moved here, this was just all overgrown, brush and bramble. So we cleared this all. Last year we planted some fruit trees. Now this year we've been just trying to develop it a little more. We're trying to make kind of like a edible landscaping. They call it a food forest, or basically everything around your fruit trees. You're trying to take advantage of the land, not just have your fruit trees. So we have strawberry plants, daylilies, we have lavender planted. We had all onions planted between them this year, which we've already harvested. We did a lot of sunflowers this year. And then over here, we actually in the back patch, we are developing. This year is when we started to develop that. We're trying to have more garden space. So we added that. It started out mainly as a flower patch. And then we threw our cucumbers back there too, and they kind of took over. But next year we're hoping to put some cattle kennel arches back here and just develop it a little more, have a little more garden space. I'm going to take you back here a little bit more. So here we got fruit trees, some strawberry plants. Our strawberries actually this year did not do great. We had planted a bunch of bare roots and most of them did not come up. So we went and just got some plants from the store to give it a try. And we got this back here. So there's our daylilies. Our daylilies are getting towards the end. They were doing so good. They were just gorgeous. The biggest problem here is there's a lot of horse nettle. Shouldn't walk here barefoot, but you know. Here's some of our lavender. We love lavender. We're trying to get more of it around here. It's so good for you. It's so good for pests. It helps with ticks and a lot of other pests as well. So we're just trying to add it in wherever we can. And so far it seems to grow out here. And probably the fact that we're all sand helps. Just our trees, fruit trees, more lavender. Lots of sunflowers. They are getting so big. And you can kind of tell how big they are. They're pretty big. The bees are in here like crazy. See, here's one that the birds have destroyed so far. And yeah, the bees are just buzzing all over the place. This is actually, and I think it's a mini one. But, I mean, it's not going to be this mini. It's actually going to grow quite large. This is a pawpaw tree. We didn't think it was going to survive. Last fall already, it didn't look very good. But it's got leaves on it, so we're just waiting to see what happens. If it grows much more, we'll probably move it somewhere else. Add a smaller tree in here. This is our patch back here. Here we got just our gladiolas. We want us to make it look pretty. Those are not edible. I think they're our only thing back here that's not edible. There's our dying cucumber plant. Still is producing. The moles, ground squirrels, I'm not really sure which one. Can't really see that. There you can see them. Mole or ground squirrel dug up through by the root system and it just killed it. So you can see there all the mound of dirt kind of coming up through. So we are still getting a couple. And then our sweet potatoes, actually we're not doing great, but I think now that the cucumber plant is dying, they have a possibility of taking over now. So we'll see what happens. We got straw flowers planted, which have not bloomed yet. This is all we are starting for next year to add on both sides. And the cattle panel arches we're going to put through the middle. But this is just our starting. We're starting with compost and just waste stuff to try to kill the weeds first. And then this is the calendula we have, which we got to deadhead some more, the dead ones. And we're going to dry a bunch of the flowers. Oh, I have a straw flower coming out, you guys. Look at this. Here, let's see if we can get it on here. Oh yeah, look at that, it's crazy. Oh, it's gonna be a pretty one. And we've been waiting so long for the straw flowers. They are so slow. We really didn't think they were gonna make it even. We did plant painted daisies too, which have not done well. I think the sunflowers kind of took over, and then there's some pest after them. So that's what these are supposed to be, which we have one flower over here that has not been eaten yet. It's really pretty. We were hoping to have a bunch more of those. That one I don't think is edible too, actually. So not all the flowers are edible, but we try to keep most of the other stuff edible. Some more huge sunflowers. We really didn't think our sunflowers were going to even make it this year. We got them in so late. They were planted so late, so we really didn't think they were even going to grow. And then they just took over so fast. This one back here, I don't know if you can see how big it is. Taking them all. The pollinators are like going crazy here. We got so many bees out. Example for everyone of surviving versus thriving. In a minute I'll show you our sunflowers that are thriving. These ones were I transplanted. We had some that were just too close to each other, so I transplanted into this. It's just sand. We didn't do anything special to the soil. We just threw them in the ground, hope they survive. And they are surviving. They have flowers on them. But I'd say they are just surviving. Over here, we have ones where we fertilized, we put manure, and we did all kinds of stuff to these ones to help the soil. These ones, I would say, are thriving. It's a good example of how in life, by how you feed many things. It can be your body, it can be your mind. But how you can survive, just get by, or you can thrive. And I think that's a great example of that in our sunflowers. This is just one of our gardens. We showed you the ones with the squash and the cantaloupe. This is just another one. Everyone kind of takes care of different gardens. So we kind of plant what we want in ones and others in other places. And we kind of have them spread out. We got one here, we got one in the back. Just trying some different things. We don't really want just one huge garden. We're trying to do different little paddocks basically. Some of the soil in different places is better. We've been working on different things, experimenting with compost and wood chips and just bringing in different things to see how we can improve the soil. Most of the soil here is sand, so basically we've had to bring in enough stuff to improve the soil. Let me take you in here a minute. Well, let's start here. This is our marigold. So we had all onions planted behind them, but we've harvested almost all of those now, and the marigolds kind of have taken over anyways. A lot of this garden is, well, we're hoping to plant a little more for fall. That's why this area is all empty. We've kind of let the weeds just take over. We've had so many pests that we thought maybe if we left more for them to eat, that they would leave our stuff alone. It seems to be working a little bit, so we're just gonna keep doing it. The sunflowers have been doing great everywhere. The birds, unfortunately, have found them, and so we probably won't end up with very many seeds. More over there. Got a whole bunch in the back. This here is a winter squash plant. So this one actually came up all by itself. We like those. And it's doing the best of all the things that we have in the garden. So we're just letting it do its thing. It's a butternut squash plant we've got down here. Let's see the nice big squash down there. It's actually got quite a few on there. We've got onions back there. It's just random tomato plants all that came up by themselves, kind of mixed in. Our tomato plants, unfortunately, this year have not done well. The blight has kind of taken over all the rain we had. Otherwise, they would have been great, but now they're just kind of gone. We have been spraying a spray made of baking soda and dish soap and oil mixed with water that's supposed to help slow down the blight, which it might have slowed it down a little, but it does not get rid of it completely. So we at least have a harvest. We weren't sure if we were going to because the blight started quite early this year. So we're at least thankful we have tomatoes. We picked a bunch. We're gonna make, I already picked just a bunch earlier. I got a video of that for making some tomato apple chutney later. We're gonna make. We're gonna use our tomatoes, we're gonna use some of our onions, some of our cucumbers go in there too. We're gonna use all of our stuff in there. We got some cantaloupe that came up in here too by itself. Got quite a few cantaloupe this year. Cantaloupe really did well this year. Over here we have our pak choi that went to seed. We decided just to let it actually seed out, and we're going to save the seeds on those. We have the purple flowers kind of mixed in here. I don't know if you can see them. They are our radishes, few radishes that we never got harvested, so they also went to seed. So we're going to try to save some seeds from those. Some kale. Our Swiss chard this year was growing great, but then the blight took over that as well. I've not really found a way to fix that one. Last year it did amazing, but this year with the rain all at the beginning, it just kind of took over. So it's letting it do its thing, and hopefully it kind of bounces back. We'll see. This plant down here is, well, I call it Tat's Out. I honestly have no idea what it's called. I'd have to look back at the thing. It's I believe a Japanese mustard green. It tastes way different than a mustard green. It's something huge. It almost is growing more like a leek, I feel like, but I'm not really sure how that would have gotten in our garden. There's a butternut squash in there. There's a few more over here. Got a bunch of them here. There's a summer squash. One more summer squash over there. Well, that's it really for this garden. I'm going to move on to another one. This is our bean patch. We got pole beans, we got some that are dried beans, green pole beans. Behind here is a bunch of bush beans. We're basically done for the season. What's left on there, we're just letting go to seed so we can save some seeds. You can see the bush beans, lots of bush beans. We're just letting the rest go to seed. We harvested a ton of them this year. One good thing this year. Okay, we're gonna head over here. Check out the gardens over here. This is a corn, radish, summer squash, winter squash patch. We got Hubbard squash. These are all radish seeds. I think these are all popcorn plants. Got a little butternut squash in here. Little tiny baby one. This was a companion planting garden. Little popcorn plants. This is a banana squash. Little raised beds. Garden. Some of these are just cleared and have to be replanted or done for the fall. Those have some tomatoes in them. This whole side of the cattle panel arch was tomatoes. And then we got some in there. This bed is full of ground cherries. Let's see. So they actually are not ready until they fall to the ground. That's how you know. And then inside is the little fruit. The tomatoes on the left, the cucumbers on the right. These are just the cattle panel trellises. They are cattle panels and T-post. These are hooked down onto the raised beds. There's all the beans. These guys are cool. And the red noodle beans. They can get huge. This one is huge. Look at this one. It's pretty big. More chickens, ducks. Quail houses. You see an egg in there. These were rabbit hutches. We turned them into quail houses. These are the fabric raised beds. Because wood prices were so high this year, I decided to give those a try. These are got all baby carrots planted in them for fall planting. Little babies in there. And this one has got sweet potatoes in it. This garden. Okay, now we're gonna check out the kids' garden. The kids planted their own little garden this year. They had a couple things come up, a couple things didn't, but they're pretty happy with what came up. Here, we'll check it out. All right, so we have, what do we have here, huh?
Cantaloupe.
Lots of cantaloupe. Can you show me a couple?
There's that one, the yellow one.
Yeah. Whoa, look at that one. Oh, I can see it there. It's pretty big, huh? It's about as big as a soccer ball. Okay, what else do you guys got in the garden?
We have some winter squash.
What kind of winter squash are they? Where are those?
You see one over here. It's really hard to see.
Oh yeah, yep, there's some acorn squash. They're doing pretty good, aren't they? Oh, they've got all kinds of cantaloupe. All kinds of cantaloupes. Oh.
And we have one little sunflower.
And one little sunflower. Right there it is. They've already harvested, how many harvests? 4 or 5 at least cantaloupe from this garden.
We have
They are happy melons.
Very delicious.
And right next to it is where the asparagus is that we planted. It's one of the big projects that we had this year. We planted 200 asparagus roots. And then we planted a bunch of seeds. Those ones will have to wait about 3 years to harvest. And we planted marigolds next to it because that's supposed to help with asparagus beetles, I believe. We did have them this year, so we'll see, but this is our asparagus.
And these are the baby ones.
Those are the baby ones. Yeah. So next year, where the kids planted their garden, it's actually tarped off because we're going to do another patch of asparagus there.
So this garden was another of our summer projects. To me it is the most important and most special. This is our memorial garden, and my husband worked very, very hard to put this together for me, and I am so grateful for that. And, yeah, it's just very, very special. Anyway, my dad passed away, and also both of his parents in the space of just over a year. And so this garden is just, we planted in memory of them. And so most of these flowers and plants and the things in the garden, the fire hydrant and the little flag thing, and even the flagpole, belonged to my dad. And so we transplanted the flowers here, and anyway, it's just a very, very special place for me, and I'm thankful for it.
We'll be posting another movie soon. We're going to be talking about the plants and the weeds that we have found here on James Haven that are edible, and some are actually really delicious. So if you'd like to see that, the best way is to subscribe to our channel, click on the little bell, and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. Alright, see you next time.